Hi, I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. Today I'm here to do a review on the 2017 Hoyt Prevail. This is the 37-inch model with the SVX cams. The Hoyt Prevail comes in 4 models, the 40-inch model and the 37-inch model. So two different top bows, axle 37, the other one's 40. They have 2 types of cams, the SVX cam and the X3 cam. The X3 cam is slower, the SVX cam is faster. The SVX in the 40-inch version is IBO speed of 317 and it's 312 for the X3, so 5 feet per second difference. In the 37-inch, substantially faster in the SVX, 321 versus 313, so big difference. I'm not sure why they get such a difference in the 37 versus the 40. So your first question is, would you want a 40 or would you want 37? Now, when I was first looking at this bow to get in, because people said, can you please do a review on it? It comes in a whole heap of different colors. And then I was like, well, which bow would I get? Would I get the 40 or would I get the 37? Now, my general gut feeling is to get 40s. Because most people will want a 40-inch bow for target. The reason you'd want 40-inch for target is generally it puts your peep sight closer to your eye so you can shoot a smaller peep sight. Across the board, that is generally not the case. There are a few bows like the Matthews Halon X, which was 35-inch, which Matthews had success in, but largely people will shoot 40-inch for target. The Hoyt distributor, I said, which bow should I get? He said he shoots a 37, and being Australia's #1 target archer, I said, look, I don't really care what I get, just get me one so I can have it in the shop for people to look at. So I got the 37, I got blue. I wasn't particularly picky with the colors, but there's a whole heap of different colors. I think you can also get these in customized colors or as an option. And these are also. So in the 2017, the Hoyt Prevail replaces the Podium X. And the question is, what's the difference between the Podium X and the Prevail? Well, I so happen to have the Podium X right next to me in blue. So for me, this bow sells for about $2,300 odd. And it's a bow that sells for me very poorly. And we'll go through the reasons why I think it sells poorly. The major difference between the Hoyt Prevail and the Hoyt Rival, in my opinion, they changed the limb shock system has been removed. Now, this was an interesting point for me because in 2016, most of the professional shooters removed this system from their limbs, and I was like, I wonder why they do that. Anyway, for 2017, it's been removed. In the 2016 version, the center of the bow is here when you pull it across. For the Prevail in 2017, the center of the bow is now over the arrow rest. So the center of the bow is now here. Now this makes a lot of sense when you have a twin cam system, because when you have a twin cam and you're pulling, that's the center of the bow here, and you're pulling back here, you're pulling back the top wheel first before the bottom. So you can never sync up the wheels exactly because they're pulling at slightly different times, which again is part of the reason why you want a 40-inch bow, because the longer the bow, the less distance there is between one point and the other. So shorter bows have more issues with cam timing than longer bows. That's not the case with this. This is a hybrid cam system. So you have a yoke at one end and a yoke at the other. And no yoke at the other. However, with the Hoyt hybrid cam system, it's not a true hybrid cam system. On the back here, you'll actually see it's flat. So it's more like, it is a hybrid cam system, but it's more like a twin cam system because this bow needs to be timed. And what you've got to do when you set up this bow, you've got to ensure when you draw it back at full position that this cam is timed along this mark here. Now it does feature a cable stop down the bottom. There are no limb stops with this bow. It's a laminated limb system, so it's basically the same limbs as 2016, which is Hoyt's famous for these laminated limb system, which is a 5-layered limb. Now, I got hammered before when I did a review on a Hoyt when I spoke about these limbs. They don't put these limbs under a lot of tension that you'll see on the PSEs, the Gordon Glass limbs, where they put lots of pressure on the limb and pull it in tight. Then Hoyt basically came out with that design on the Hyper Edge and the other bows. So this has really been their target limb. But with this bow, you should get more shock when you shoot it because the limbs are going to move forward. So I expect when I shoot this, and I haven't shot this bow, I expect this bow will jump forward in the hand when it's shot. It's not going to affect the accuracy of the bow at all. It's going to affect the feel of the bow when you shoot the bow. So with the Matthews TRX, which is a short, small limb, I expect very little vibration when I shoot it because it's quite small and parallel. This is quite a long limb and it's not parallel. So when I shoot this limb should move forward, so I should feel vibration moving forward. Now, my problem when I came to order the Prevail was I've drawn up on the board here all the different specs that this bow comes in. And as a retail shop, the question is, I'm just going to put this up here. The question is, what bows do I stock? How many bows do I stock? If I'm going to stock a Prevail, do I stock a 37 or do I stock a 40? Do I stock the X3s or the SVX? So I've already got 4 bows that, I probably need to stock. But then I've got all these here, I've written down all the draw length. Each one of these is a different bow. So the Prevail in a 40 in SVX comes in 25 to 27, 27.5 to 28.5, 29 to 30, 30.5 to 31.5, 32 to 32.5. And so on with the X3. X3 slightly better. It's more, X3's got 2 inches of adjustment, so 26 to 28, 28 to 30, and 30 to 32. So for me, the Prevail would make a lot of sense in the 28 to 30. Unfortunately, most of the Hoyt Prevail shooters, people who want to buy a Hoyt Prevail, will probably want the faster one, the SVX. In which case you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 draw length variations. Now the variations are actually changes of cam size. Now for 2017, Hoyt did a good thing in that when you buy the bow, it actually comes with the modules. So that wasn't the case in the 2016 version. So when you buy the 29 to 30, it comes with a 29 inch, 29.5 and the 30 inch module. But let's say for example, I'm 28.5 and I want the 40 inch version, then I would be buying the SVX 27.5 to 28.5. Now the problem comes, because I am 28.5, the problem comes if I buy this bow and then I go, feels a little short. I need that one, which is 29 to 30. It's a whole cam change, strings and cable change. I need modules, and the cost of doing that is, I'm going to say prohibitive, probably around the $500 odd mark. And that's a number from the top of my head. I allowed $400 for the cams. Cams are not cheap for Hoyt, and I allowed $150 for the string. So it allowed around $500. You've probably got modules on top of that. So basically, you can't do it. This is one of my problems when I sell secondhand Hoyts. Because when you go to sell one, let's say I've got this bow in stock, the SVX 29 to 30. A customer walks in my shop, he's 28 inches. I cannot sell him that bow. And he goes, no, I actually want the X3. I still can't sell him this bow. Where if you buy a bow which is very adjustable and a person comes in wanting to buy a secondhand bow where one bow suits anybody, it makes the sale a lot easier. So as a result, generally speaking, Hoyts with the Hoyt target bow line, you will generally struggle. When I say struggle to sell it secondhand, you will sell it secondhand, but it's harder to sell because you need a person the same size as you. It's also very hard. Most of the archers are, I'm going to say the majority of archers are recreational archers. And recreational archers will purchase this bow. The problem is a lot of times they won't know what draw length they are, and they'll change their shooting technique as they're shooting, and hence the bow will physically change. So that's one of the problems. Now with the Hoyt Podium X, the one you saw, I've had that in my store all year. I've had a really good price on it and I've been unable to sell it. I did sell it once to another person on YouTube and he wanted the different cams, so the bow came back to me. Now the bow I want to compare it to, I would normally compare it to the other target bows on the market. The only one I'm going to compare it to is the Xpression. I have just done a review on the TRX. The Xpression comes in 40-inch axle and 38-inch axle, fully adjustable with rotating modules. Price point on this bow is $1,900. The Hoyt Prevail is $2,342. They both have machine risers with the bridged riser concept. The weight on the bow I did measure before I did the review. The spec said 4.2. I measured on the scale at 4.85, so basically spot on. So the PSE has the compression limbs, which you can say is better or worse, but it has the rotating modules, and it's about $400 cheaper. So it's going to be cheaper, easier to sell secondhand, and like I just sold one today secondhand. The person didn't lose a lot of money on it, like Supra, but it was easy to sell. It literally sat in my shop for a week. So just bear that in mind. The people who are going to buy the Hoyt Prevail, there's going to be a lot given away to staff shooters, but the people who buy this are generally going to buy it because the best shooter in club shooting one, or the top shooter in Australia is shooting one, or they think it looks cool. Like the graphics are awesome. And I just grabbed the wrong one. But they think it looks cool. So, that's fine as a reason. The things that are good about this bow, and there's lots good about Hoyt, they do like a really rock solid bow. There's videos of this bow being dry fired, and I don't know how they do the video on dry firing, because when I dry fire a bow, the strings blow apart. So I dry fired my recurve, because the knock blew apart when I shot it, and the strings physically, blew apart. There's videos showing the Hoyt's being dry fired, and their strings don't break. So I don't understand how that doesn't occur, because when you dry fire a bow, the strings blow up. But a really solid, rock solid bow as far as reliability. It features the 2 points for lower stabilizers here and here, front stabilizer there, which is good. The finish on Hoyts is always first class. The graphics look great. They look like a racing bike. It's a nice looking bow. The question is, what's it going to shoot like? What's going to be the speed through the chronograph? And how am I going to shoot this at 18 meters compared to the other target bows? There is no question this bow will shoot good, because the world number one is currently shooting this bow, and it may be Stefan Hansen's world number one at the moment. I mean, those two are pretty close, but there are plenty of people shooting this bow for target around the world. So the problem is, which cam and which bow do you choose? So we're going to take this outside, shoot it through a chronograph, and then shoot 18 meters with it and see how it stacks up against the other target bows that we've tested. And I'm pretty sure this is about the last of the top end target bows that we have to test. So hopefully it'll be worthwhile me purchasing this bow, and hopefully it's giving you some information about the bow when we finish the review. Thank you. Bye. Okay, so we're outside to test shoot the Hoyt Prevail. I haven't drawn this bow back, so this is the first time. So this is a hard cam system. Well, it's faster than the X3, so I expect this to be quite hard to draw. So let's see how it is. This bow's set at 60 pounds. It should be 29 inches, so we'll see how that is. And these are Velocity 400s, which is what I use on all my tests. So here it's actually quite easy. Hard, pretty solid there. I'm going to shoot this shot. Ooh. Pretty quick. 299. Now, let's put this in comparison. The Hoyt Pro Carbon Defined Turbo shot 311. The Matthews TRX, which is rated at 330, shot 300, which I was really impressed with. And this shoots 300, and this is actually meant to be slower. This is meant to be 10 feet per second slower. And their specs on this bow says it shoots 320 feet per second, and their Hoyt Turbo is meant to be 355, and it's only 10 feet per second slower through the chronograph. So that's pretty interesting. Now the draw cycle, to me, it doesn't have a big valley. The let off feels like 70, even 60%. It doesn't feel like a big valley, and the valley is extremely short. It kind of doesn't lump over. It's smooth into the valley. It starts off quite light to draw back, and then it builds up and it doesn't drop off that much. So if anything, it's very much like the TRX. So let's just try it again. It's very solid when you're back here. .297. Now when you shoot this, you can feel a bit more twang than the other bows because it doesn't have the compression limbs. The vibration's not bad. I'd expect more vibration out of it than I'm getting. It feels pretty good actually. There's a bit of a, definitely feels better than, as far as I'm concerned, the Podium X. To me it's a step up from the Podium X. And that was, there is a bit of a kick there when you shoot, but it's not bad. The grip's comfortable. It's a narrower grip than the Xpression. It's a squarer grip than the TRX. It's comfortable. The plastic grip here is adjustable, which is good. Overall, it's a nice bow to shoot. In fact, I liked it a lot better than the last year's model, and I've shot the previous Hoyts before that. To me, this is quite a step up. I think Hoyt have done, I'm not sure how they've done it, but definitely I think there's a lot less vibration when you shoot it, and it feels quite good in the shot when it comes off. There is more twang in the strings than the compression limbs. So now the question is, what's it going to shoot like at 18 meters? Is it going to shoot better, worse than the TRX and the other bows which we've tested? But here, to me, it feels pretty good. And the draw cycle at 60 pounds feels pretty good. So overall, I think it's a pretty good little bow, and the finish is great. So let's go and shoot 18 meters with them. We'll see how it is. So I've come inside now to shoot the Hoyt Prevail. This is the SVX cam system 2017. I've come inside to shoot 18 meters with it. Now between me doing the shoot outside, where I've shot these through the chronograph, and coming inside, I had Archer come in and said, can I have a shot with this? And I actually brought this bow for him because he's a mad keen Hoyt fan. He does shoot PSEs, and he has shot Matthews. He has got 2 podiums, which is the model before this. He does have a Supra. He shot my Xpression, and he's shot the Matthews as well. He said, can I have a shot with this? So he shot, and I said, look, I'm really impressed with the Prevail that I shot yesterday. So he said, can I have a shot? I said, sure. So he shot a few arrows. He said, it's just like the Podium. I said, oh, that's interesting. He said the cams, he said these cams feel exactly the same as the spirals. So the SVX, this is the faster cam system. He said the SVX feels exactly the same as the spiral to draw. And I found outside when I was shooting this, I was really impressed with the speed. So as soon as I came inside, I grabbed my Xpression and shot that through the chronograph, which is slower, but it was much easier to draw. So you get nothing for nothing. So you don't get the speed unless you put the work in, basically, because you can build up the strength a lot more. So I just been shooting this morning outside, and I've shot 3 arrows indoors with this morning, and I can feel the difference between the draw cycle on this compared to the Xpression. The Xpression is significantly slower, but it's also much easier to draw. And then I go to another extreme like the Beast with the bigger cams, much easier to draw again, same poundage. So I take that. Now, waffling on. So what he said it feels basically the same as the Podium. He said, look, really, I can't justify buying the new version of this. I was like, no, that's interesting, because he's a big Hoyt fan. He's got the Hoyt Hyper Edge as well. And I said, but I feel there's less vibration with the Hoyt Prevail than the Podium. And he said, yeah, probably, but he said it's not enough for me to warrant the purchase. And I was like, oh, okay, that's fair. So it's always worth checking out the bows for yourself. Now, I said at the start of when I was doing the review on this, the biggest problem is the draw length, and always been the issue with the Spiral. Spiral's got the shorter draw length adjustment than the GX cam, which was last year's, or the X3 this year. So the X3 will definitely be a smoother draw cycle, but it's got the longer draw length. Now, the things I didn't mention yesterday, the reason why Hoyt on their Spirals do the cams this way, so it's a faster option, is each cam's slightly built for the specific draw length. So it's got an advantage and it's got a disadvantage. The disadvantage is you got the draw length, less draw length adjustment. The advantage is you've got the increased speed. I think Hoyt have done the right thing as far as having two cam options. As far as one with bigger draw length adjustment and one with the faster system. My understanding is most people will be buying the faster cam system. So I think as far as other bow manufacturers, TRX from Matthews has already gone that way, and I wouldn't be surprised if you see PSE go that way for 2018. I'm not saying they are, but I just feel there's a move for more speed in the top end target range based on this bow and what's been happening on the target scene. But let's shoot this bow. I was very impressed with the bow yesterday. Now, some things when I was fitting the sight to it, there's the Matthews and the PSE have got multiple sight positions where you can fit the sight. You can see this sight to shoot 18 meters is basically at the top of the position that it can be in. And that's for me in my draw length. So if I was down further, I would have a problem getting that sight to fit into the position. So this only has the one hole position. I think that's about all I was going to mention on this. Okay, let's shoot this. Now I've got a basic 5-pin hunting sight. I've sighted in basically with 3 arrows beforehand. So they should be hitting the gold and they should be pretty close to the middle. I've got no peep, just a D-loop, basic whisker biscuit, and we're shooting the gold tip platinum shafts. So let's see how this shoots. Let's see how I shoot, because this bow should shoot fine. Oh, so one of the things I notice is this here, the cable guard is really close. I mean, have a look. Really close to my hand. So when I go to draw this back, my fingers are touching. So, and the release aid touches. So that's a bit painful. But let's. I've been shooting this morning. I've shot 72 arrows this morning with the compound. I shot recurve last night for 120 arrows. This is so much harder to aim. When I say aim, to pull back and aim at the target. I was getting like little shakes, which could be I'm fatigued. I'm just saying, it's like just harder to aim. I shot all morning. I just shot the Xpression indoors, and I just put them all in the center. So definitely, I wasn't feeling fatigued with that shot. I was getting my little sight pin was going left to right, left to right, left to right. The let off, I think on this bow is 70%. The PSE is 65%. I've got it on, but this feels like I'm holding much more weight. So I'd almost like to check that on the scale. Because I was definitely struggling with that shot. So let's have another go. that one was much better. The shot was much better. I wasn't wobbling. I wasn't wobbling, felt a lot better, but it's still hard work. Now, on this, I'm going to say about work. I was watching Jesse Broadwater put a post. He said, I shoot all the time. He said, people don't understand how much work there is in being a professional archer. Now, when I was at my peak, like around December, I was shooting 4 hours a day. Now, since then, things in life, you know, doing whatever they're doing, and I'm not putting the time in right now, my scores have dropped. Now, the people who are shooting big numbers with this bow are shooting a lot of arrows. Now, the more arrows you shoot, the more steady you shoot, the more your muscles build up, the more weight you can hold on the bow, the more this bow will perform for you if you're stronger and you shoot all the time. So for a recreational shooter who shoots once a week, I think with this bow you're going to struggle. And I'm going to say the same thing with the TRX as well. I'm going to say the same thing with the Xpression. You're going to struggle with the weight of the bow. You're going to struggle more so with the draw cycle with this and the TRX. So if you're a once a week shooter, I reckon you'd be better with the X3 cams than the speed cams. So now when I shoot the bow, so when I'm aimed and it releases, I get a bit of that happening. I feel like I didn't get that with the TRX because the TRX I only shot a couple of days ago. Now with the Xpression when I shoot, it does have a bit of shock. I'm going to say they're pretty similar, but they feel different in the shock. So with this stuff, it's always good to try stuff out and to try other people's gear. But like good quality bow is always a good quality bow. So I was actually much happier shooting this the other day outside. I was like, yeah, I'm going to shoot good scores indoors. I'm not so sure now. Can't actually see my arrows down there. I can see some shadows. And I feel like I'm really struggling with it. I'm not... I've got a PSE hat on. But it's... Yeah, I feel like I'm struggling. So... And I feel like this cable guard, and this is... People say, oh, you know, archery is about... mental. For me, it's a lot about the physical, because the more I shoot, the better I shoot. So a lot of it's more about, for me, the physical side. But I understand where people go, it's mental, because if you're at the top range, everyone's shooting 6 to 8 hours a day. So therefore, physically, they're going to be very similar. But for me, it's very much about the physical side. And I've got to physically put the work in. But saying that, this here, touching my hand when I draw it back, it's doing my head in. It really is doing my head in. So I didn't have it the other day, but I just feel like I'm going to punch myself in the mouth with my back tension release aid. And I've never had this with a bow before. I don't know why, but it's touching my finger and it's kind of making me a bit uneasy in the shot. Like, I like the faster bow, I really do, but... And the other day when I shot it outdoors, I was like, oh man, I wish my bow was faster. And I actually came in, I looked up the Super, the speeds on it. I looked up the 3D Xpression, the shorter one. I was thinking maybe I should get a faster bow. But right now, shooting this, I almost want to try the 40-inch version of it. I feel that I shot better with the TRX. As far as aiming, I felt steadier, I think, when I aimed with the TRX. But we'll go down there and see what it's like. But I just feel I'm wobbling around. It feels hard. So. And there's a little bit that, now that when I shoot, that's going to go with stabilizers. Balance, like you can see the balance, that's all going to go when you got stabilizers. So overall, we'll just go up to the target. Okay, so we're here at the target. Just shot 18 meters. Put that up there. Well, this is a group. The group's really interesting. So when I got the left to right movement after the shot, I'm not getting to here because they're all in a straight line. And that's because you're getting that movement after the physical shot. Now I've got 3 arrows there touching. They're all smack up against one another. And these 2 arrows here are smack up against each other. They're a finger apart. So if I put my finger around all of them, that's tight. So if I had my sights correct, and I thought they were before I shot them, but anyway, if I had them correct, I had 3 arrows practice. This arrow here was low, and I think that was my first shot. The first shot, I said that was hard. I was shaking around a bit. So first shot was low and I dropped it, obviously. But I found the aiming harder. I did shoot some good arrows in the middle of the thing where I was actually steadier, but my first one, I was shaking all over the joint. I feel the 2 groups were, I feel it's obviously me, right? But I feel like it was the confidence factor. I feel like that release aid touching the cable guard. There was some shots there I felt pretty good with, and there were some other shots I was a bit in my head. I was like, oh, the cable guard. Overall, the group's good. Okay, it's a good group, but I did find it hard to shoot them as far as the strength side of it. Now, if I was shooting 6 hours a day, which is you're going to shoot professional, you've got to do. Hoyt Prevail, no issue. It's fast. It's as fast as the TRX. So it's a fast target bow. It's basically one of the fastest target bows made. So I understand why a lot of the top target shooters are shooting this particular bow, because the draw length is specific, so it's increasing the speed. You've got the adjustability of the grip. You can fit in different grips, which I don't know if I showed before. I'm pretty sure I did. There's 2 screws there. And I will say, like, there's a championship on today being shot. It's the Australian Open in Queensland. Now the top shooters, let's go from 1 to 10. The difference out of 720 points is your maximum. The difference in scores from 1 to 10, maybe 10 points out of 720. And there's people in there shooting a whole bunch of different bows. Heaps of Hoyts being shot. Because they give away lots of bows. But it's a nice bow to shoot, and 10 points out of 720 gets back to the archer. Like, I just shot outside today, and the arrows that I didn't shoot, I had some wind, and I shot some 60s, some perfect ends, and there's some other ends which weren't so good. But this bow, if you're going to shoot a lot, if you want to shoot extremely well, this bow's going to perform really, really well for you. If you're a recreational archer, so you're going to shoot, I'm going to shoot once in a while, I'm shooting for a bit of fun, that sort of, I want to say fun, I'm going to shoot once a week down the club, I might shoot once a week in my backyard. That's a recreational archer to me. It's a guy who's, socializing, guy, girl, socializing. This is a sport for me. It's a bit of part-time leisure. I would definitely be at the X3 cam. And for for someone getting into the sport for the first time, I wouldn't recommend this bow, because I think the draw length being set at those specific, you can change the draw length. That would be such a huge hindrance to me. As far as even selling a bow, it's a huge hindrance. And it's also a hindrance if you go to resell the bow. So for someone starting out, recreational archer, who goes, actually, money's no object, I want to buy some good gear, I wouldn't be recommending this bow, because the draw length, the poundage, I don't know how much you're going to shoot, the draw cycle, it's hard work. I would be recommending one of the other bows. But if I'm going to shoot every day, I'm going to put in, before and after work, and I'm going to see how good I can be, and I've been shooting before, I think the Hoyt Prevail is a good bow, and I think it's really good from the fact that it comes in 37s, 40s, and the two cams, the X3 and the SVX. And I think that's where Hoyt have targeted this bow. It comes in a whole heap of colors. They do custom limb dampeners and the little rubber things in the thing. To me, it's a really nice bow for that. The vibration that you feel after the shot, I think a lot of that will go with the stabilizers, and the top shooters who are shooting the Hoyt Prevail are putting on chunks of weight at the front of the stabilizer. So when they shoot that shot, that weight is going to get rid of the vibration and the movement in the hand. So overall, I think it's a nice bow. I really like the speed factor. For me, the speed does it. The Hoyt finish is great. Hoyt reliability is great. A nice company. Now, saying all that, I'm going to get back to customer service. And it's always, whoever you buy a bow from, the dealer and all that, it's good to talk to them about their view of the product. Customer service for me, and I thought about this video before I did it. If I shot better with the Prevail, would I shoot one? If I shot better with the Prevail over the Xpression, would I shoot one? And would I move away from the bow I'm currently shooting? Now the thing is, for me, and I know this is not a video on PSE, but for me, the customer service, my Podium I have there has got a mark on the limb, which I can show you. It's got a mark on the limb. Came from the factory with a mark on the limb, which may have happened in transportation at somewhere or someplace. It means I have to sell the bow for $500 less than retail, and I can't move it. If that was a PSE would replace the limbs. They might even give me a new bow. It wouldn't be acceptable that a PSE has got some sort of defect on it. I'm probably putting PSE in shit, and Hoyt owners are going to probably put shit on me for it. But for me as a retailer, the amount of service that I get, as far as if I have a single problem, it's fixed, problem done, dusted, it's just awesome. There's no issues. If you got that service from Hoyt, and dealers may get that service from Hoyt, if you got that service from Hoyt, if they could ship bows in quickly, and and if there's a problem, it gets fixed quickly. And I mean, there have been issues with Hoyts in the past, and they have been fixed relatively quickly. As far as, you know, I've had guys with risers crack. They were fixed within a 4-week time period. Limbs are really rock solid on the Hoyts. So that level of service for me, just about the product, is just awesome. And for me, customer service has to be number one. And I don't know if I'm talking about a retailer or a consumer, but if you have a problem and it's fixed, it's just the best. So overall, I love the finish, love the product, comes in heaps of colors. The bow's fantastic. I wouldn't be shooting one because I am shooting good scores with the bow I have. There's a price difference of $400, and I can't justify that as far as $400 difference. I can't justify that. The cable guard was an issue for me, so I'd have to try the 40-inch version. And I think that's about it. But overall, great product, so I understand why people shoot it. If you're going to buy one, you're going to be happy as long as you shoot a lot. So I hope that's helped you out, and hopefully it hasn't offended a lot of the people who love their Hoyts, because I'm not saying it's a bad product. I'm not saying that. It's a good product, fantastic finish, shoots good. For a specific person, for a person who shoots a lot, you're going to shoot really, really well for it. 99% of my customer base are recreational shooters who shoot once a week, once every 2 weeks, shoot in their backyard a few hours here and there. I would be looking for the X3 cam if you want to spend this sort of money, and I don't see, like the PSE Supra, $1,400 for a recreational shooter, $1,400 versus $2,340. $1,000 is a lot of money in my view for a recreational shooter. So this bow, purely for someone who's going to shoot comps, go away to spend lots of money on travel, going to comps, that's who this is aimed at. And I think my valuation at the start, where you compare the Xpression to the Prevail to the Matthews, is still valid. So, but overall, nice product. I think it's a step up from the Podium. But like, I take the point of my customer who said it's not enough of a step up to encourage him to buy one. So anyway, I'm Stephen Hand from Archery Supplies. I hope it's been informative. I hope I've covered questions people will ask, because that's the purpose of this video. So thank you very much. Bye.